If you don't learn how to say no, if you don't learn how to draw boundaries around what you are comfortable doing and what you are not comfortable or not available for doing, you're going to invite all of these low vibrational feelings into your literal body, right? Whether it be resentment, stress, anger, even, right? Like secret anger, secret harboring resentment at the person. A subconscious part of you will feel like, well, it's their fault that I'm doing this, that I'm in this position because they put me in a tough position. They put me on the spot when they asked me to do them a favor that I don't actually want to do. But I'm here to tell you that it's actually not their fault, all right? It's actually your fault for not being able to say no from your own mouth like an adult. It may be like, okay, maybe this person, maybe it's inappropriate of them to ask something of that magnitude from you, but that's a separate situation from you being able to say no when you actually don't want to do something, if that makes sense. Basically, like by the time that whenever someone does something towards you or asks you something that puts you in a difficult situation, you cannot control the other person. You can only control the way that you respond to them. So at the point that the question or the request is made of you, it becomes your responsibility in that moment, right? Even though you might think it's unfair that, well, I never asked to be put in such a position, but I would say that try to get out of that automatic victimization of yourself, victim mindset. Like, I rarely think that way anymore whenever people ask me things, because that's just life, you know? There's gonna be uncomfortable questions or requests made of you. There's going to be like awkward situations. There's gonna be ways of just interacting in the world from other people towards you that you might feel like is totally inappropriate and boundary crossing, but maybe that person, it's not to make an excuse, but to them, maybe they just never learned that it was inappropriate, or maybe they come from a different culture where it's widely accepted that, you know, they can be up in everyone's business, whereas your culture, everyone kind of minds their own business and respects everyone else's privacy. Do you want to be the type of person that is so sensitive and like so limited in your scope of being able to interact with the world that unless people interact with you in this very specific narrow set of ways, then all of a sudden you're a victim, right? It's your choice. That's not the kind of mindset that I want to inhabit. That's not the way that I want to move throughout the world. So yeah, I wanted to leave you on that important point of why it is so important to learn how to say no. It's to protect you from any future resentment or like stress and just all of these negative emotions that are guaranteed to come up if you agree to do something that you don't actually want to do. Of course, you can still work, like nothing's ever lost, right? So even if you do find yourself in a weak moment where you still succumb to peer pressure or bending over backwards for someone that you view as an authority figure, whatever your reasoning is, whatever your wounding is that is driving that behavior, you can still heal even after the fact. If you do something for someone and then you resent them afterwards, you can do the inner work and, you know, go through the process of realizing that it was actually your responsibility to communicate that you didn't want to do it, or that, you know, you were just not willing to do it flat out. The reaction of the other person is going to be what it's going to be, right? You can't control that anyways. So you can work through that and like ultimately realize that the resentment you're harboring towards the other person, find ways to release it. But why go through that in the first place when you could have stopped it at no?